Welcome to Two Women in Crypto, a weekly podcast birthed on a whim by two women who are excited about the cryptocurrency landscape and have a shared passion about empowering others to step into the digital, tokenized world of the future. We offer tips, tricks, and our own individual insights as to how to begin to navigate this shift. We are not financial advisors nor experts. We are just here to encourage you to look at the possibilities. So welcome to the future. You're right on time. Good morning.
Good morning, Kelly. How are you this morning?
I am well. I can feel the change of season. And I'm sure you're feeling it because in the mornings now it's like, it's dark.
Yeah, no, it's hot here. It's like I feel like we're at the height of the summer.
Yeah.
But that's great. I'm glad you have seasons.
Right, we do. I'm in the Pacific Northwest. For those of you that don't know, I'm here in Portland. So yeah, we're definitely seeing, and fall is my favorite time. So just on that, just general social seasonal change thing, everybody's going back to school or whatever school is these days, and people are getting back into a different flow slowly. So this is my favorite time of the year, just going into the best time of the year for me. So I'm loving the coolness of the mornings and everything else. So how are things in your world and what is going on in the crypto spheres?
Woo! I am so excited for today's podcast. So let's just dive right in.
Right.
I mean, when I'm doing deep dives in some of the research and all the things that are going on, I mean, regulation is coming. Adoption is moving so quickly. And, we're going to get into it. So for those of you who don't know, the Federal Reserve Bank, they actually have a meeting in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, like every single year, and they talk about monetary policy and all of these things. That meeting starts today. Jerome Powell, he will be speaking tomorrow, and we will keep everybody posted on the findings of that meeting. But we really want to watch this if we can, right, Kel? Because they're going to be talking about central bank digital currencies, regulation, stable coins. And I think we're going to name like the podcast, like the Fed said what?
That's it. That's what it's titled. The Fed said what?
So basically what the Federal Reserve is saying is like, look, this is an emerging crypto asset sector that presents like so many opportunities, right? For banking organizations, customers, financial markets. And they are like urging people in the government to get the regulation that's needed for the banks, for the institutions. We need to move forward, right? And a lot of like what Kelly and I have spoken about in the past is like the United States has to get on board with digital assets and cryptocurrency, or the innovation is going to move overseas. And again, like I don't think that's true. It's because we've been building these. I've been watching as a technical recruiter. I mean, they've been building these systems for years, but that narrative is we see it changing. And, during a bear market, there's so much development. There's so much adoption, even though it's not touching really the price of a lot of these coins right now. We're kind of like in that really exciting time of like building, really.
And the Jackson Hole event lasts for how long? Is it through like 4 days? It's through the weekend?
Or how long? It's over on the 27th. So it's just like a couple of days. Yeah.
Perfect.
But I kind of like to think of it as like a big central bankers like hangout.
Yeah.
Like they're all hanging out in Jackson Hole, and like you have like academia, big bankers, institutions, like, I kind of look at these meetings like a Davos meeting. They all get together and then they're like, okay, Germany, you're going to do this, and France, you're going to do that. And, Spain, you do this. Okay, break, go back to your countries, implement the plan, and we're going to do this. So
it's kind of a Brighton Wood energy to it.
Yeah. Right? And I know like probably like maybe like 6-9 months ago, I pulled documents. I think this was when Christine Lagarde was still the managing director over at the International Monetary Fund.
Mm-hmm.
And she was talking about a Bretton Woods moment specifically for this weekend, like to talk about monetary policy. Like they are ready to move forward. So again, how long is it going to be until they really start to introduce the central bank digital currency and get the regulation, for stable coins?
So interestingly enough, with the fact that Biden washed some of the student loan debt away yesterday, and this is just completely off the cuff here, what do you think there's any correlation to what's coming down the pipe based on these actions that are being taken to relieve that sector?
That's a great question, Kel. So it's really interesting, right? So there's so many different ways to look at it. And again, like I know people are upset, like a lot of people hustled, they paid off their student loans, they worked a couple of jobs. And then, again, politics aside, like I look at everything as like follow the money. And I know I've spoken about this before, and a lot of people don't even know what this term is, but it's called the modern monetary theory. We can print unlimited money and don't worry about inflation. So just like with the Inflation Reduction Act, and now what? We're going to print $100 billion to excuse student loans. Who's paying that $100 million, Kelly?
Well, the taxpayers are.
Exactly. So even though you think you're getting a deal, like everyone got that $1,000 check from the CARES Act, right?
Right.
Trump sent everybody checks. We printed money out of thin air. Okay, so now every time I want to go, like my mom was so upset. She called me yesterday. I bought these corn muffins, but I'm not ever buying them again. I'm buying these other ones because they're $7 for 4 corn muffins.
Right.
The corn muffins haven't gotten better. It just takes more dollars to buy them. So the dollar is getting devalued. And they trick us because they never taught us anything about financial monetary policy when we were in school. None of us know this unless we educated ourselves. That's the bottom line.
Well, and then when you look at it from the vantage point of them taking these steps, and then how and or if, quote unquote, they will roll out a central system, how do you think that's setting the stage? Like here they are, they're going to take all this away, but to do this, to have further relief, perhaps you have to enroll in this. Or I'm just curious if that has crossed your mind at all. And we don't have to go down that road.
On this line, you sell your freedom, right? And but it is, Kelly.
Yeah.
It is, right? So it's like teaching classes, right? It's like, what's cryptocurrency? What's digital money? It's programmable money that could be programmed into your Fed app. It could also be programmed out. Right. So if we think that that's not going to affect our freedom, I really highly doubt that. Like I want everybody to be taken care of and be well.
Absolutely. Right.
But I watch what's going on in Australia, in Canada, even in the United States. Like you're either on board with like the current narrative or, I don't know.
Right. And I just wanted to bring it up because it's more, like as people listen and we never know who's going to be tuning in, just to throw these comments in. And it's not about political affiliations or anything of that nature. It's just about taking a very, very high level look at the entire landscape. So anyway, I didn't want to segue from what you were.
Yeah, no, but it's such a good point. And like, again, like even with like, if you look at like the names of these bills, like the Inflation Reduction Act, these bills usually do the opposite of what they say they're going to do. Take a look at the Dodd-Frank Act, the Dodd-Frank Consumer Protection Act, legalizing bank bail-ins if the banks need our money. It's a Consumer Protection Act. Right? So again, it kind of blows my mind, but these things usually do the opposite. And some of the, most of this stuff is completely out of our control. But I think that's why eventually, if we start to see inflation get out of control, because we are creating money out of thin air to fund these programs.
Right.
So the money is going to come from somewhere. And Biden said, we're not raising taxes on people. And he doesn't have to, because everything is taxed so heavily now that, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
All right.
Deep breath.
So, but with that said, you know, it's kind of like thinking about the meeting at Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and our whole entire financial system is changing. And this isn't something that is in the future. Okay, this is like regulation is coming to Coinbase, to Binance, to Kraken. And I believe through the open banking system, which we've covered previously, like the new banking systems are going to be like on our phone. Coinbase can be our centralized cryptocurrency exchange, but we can also get our check deposited into our paycheck deposited into our account, and we can use that at the grocery store when we go buy goods and services. And then and again, like they've already passed the law for major banking institutions to hold cryptocurrencies, but now it's going to get set up. Now we're getting like regulation. So I believe like anytime in 2023, we will see the ability to store our Bitcoin or cryptocurrency at our bank if you feel that it's safe. You know, like this is a good segue to go into like there's been a lot of breaches. There's a lot of stuff going on with some of these like, you know, super concentrated centralized companies. Like, you know, look at iPhone. Like iPhone had a huge data breach a couple days ago. And like, you know, I jump on LinkedIn this morning and it's like, no big deal. We're rolling out 4 new phones. One of them used a headset for a mixed virtual reality experience. And it's like, but what happens if that data gets breached?
Right.
So
yeah, it's really walking a tightrope.
Yeah. So I think like Kelly's like an expert with privacy and really protecting our data. And I think it's just something like we'll have to teach that class again, you know?
Yeah, we'll definitely be teaching a digital safety class, and it really it has a very expansive coverage. It's not just about our digital assets, about what we're doing online and how we can protect ourselves. And you're going to find that there's some systems that you have to use something like Chrome or what have you, but there's a lot of alternatives to do things safely, to where everything you type into your system isn't monitored or being, you know, recorded for some use as far as, you know, reaching out to you. For instance, I was talking to my daughter yesterday, and she said her phone listened to her and gave her a couple of things on Instagram. It was never something, you know, that's what's happening. And so, but, you know, in terms of safety, right out there, there's so many things. As far as you just had an experience yesterday, you know, just as a segue, you know, to tie it together with Microsoft, right?
Yeah. So Rowan had an update, and Microsoft software update had a bug in it, and it was like a BitLocker bug. So it's like a 44-digit code that and then like she has no access to her computer, no access to her files. And you know, we're working with Computer Diva like Mary Berger. And she is awesome. Holy cow, Kelly. Like,
yeah, right.
It's like above and beyond trying to figure this out, because our local computer guy was like, I can just wipe your computer.
Right.
And it's so nice to have such an amazing resource on our team to like, she must have worked. You know, the research that she did and the follow-up is just unbelievable. And again, it's like what Kelly's saying, like we need to protect our emails and all of this stuff. We really need to protect our computer systems.
And Mary Berger, just full transparency, she is one of the sponsors of Two Women in Crypto, but I've been working with her for probably 8 years, and she has saved my skin many, many times when I have either lost my system altogether. And as a result of working with her for years, and first of all, she does everything remote, so she can monitor your system in a very safe way. And she has certainly picked up bugs or things well in advance of something happening, or noticed when my memory was going bad or things of that nature. So she saved my, having a complete system crash. But in the years that have passed, she's also taught me really important lessons, like always having 2 backups of my data, whether one be an external hard drive and one perhaps being cloud, just depends on what your scenario is. But anyway, highly, highly recommend. And I'm glad that she has been able to, kind of help you and Rowan through these uncharted waters, because it's really intimidating when we lose everything that we've been working on, and we do everything online. Our whole world exists online. And when systems go down, the whole world comes to a stop.
Yeah, it's so true. And just like going over like Mary, like when Mary like sets up your computer, I was listening to like her process, and like compared to like the person that we use in the town next door, I mean, it's just so much better. Like she would have had the BitLocker number and all of that stuff. So just highly, highly recommend.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So awesome.
So safety first. Keep those things in mind, and don't push buttons you're not familiar with. But that was just a major update period that they pushed through. So there was nothing you could have done to stop that.
No. And again, it's like, just to kind of jump right back into crypto too. I mean, huge news this week, and I'm sure like people don't even realize what's going on, but you know what the DTCC is? I know we've talked about it like a couple of months ago, like Depository Trust Clearing Corporation. They just went live with the R3 Corda blockchain. Okay. So the DTCC settles $1.8 quadrillion a year, and they just went live with their blockchain. So we're talking, I think right now it's 100,000 transactions per day. The old system is running parallel with the blockchain system. You can use multiple coins like XDC, XRP, XLM, Algorand, and more, like, USDC. There's a lot of coins that can run through the R3 Corda network. But again, we're talking, we are so early, right? We're so right on time for this, because the more adoption and the more flow and the more liquidity that flows into these systems, the less reliant we are going to be on centralized systems. And when I look at Apple and I look at Microsoft and I look at this, the data like insecurity and all of these things, we need decentralized systems that have hundreds, if not thousands of nodes. So a diverse computer system all over the world, so there's not one central point of failure.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's why I don't feel comfortable holding all of my money in the bank. Like, bail-in aside, like if it got to that point, which would be really bad, it's just the amount of hacking that's going on with these systems is very
right. Exactly. And we were talking last week, I think it was, I'm not having a great recollection, but I know of many people that are taking their paychecks right out of the bank in cash. As soon as they get paid, they're just taking cash out and just paying by cash, and just not even trusting that process as well. It makes things a little bit more difficult in life, to carry cash with you, but I also understand the reasoning behind it.
Yeah. And again, it's like, even with me, like I keep my USDC on my Safepal wallet, and I have to put it back into my bank, to cover the bills. And we're right now we're paying a premium, right? We're paying a high gas fee because USDC is run on Ethereum.
ERC20, yep.
Right, it's an ERC20 token. So
I jokingly refer to Ethereum as the mafia of the crypto world, but I like to think that when they do this bridge, that will alter, that'll shift a little bit, but regardless.
Yeah. Well, again, and we kind of touched, it's such a good point, Kel, because we touched base on this, and like there's Optimism, there's Matic, there's Loopring. I think it's more of the layer 2s are going to save Ethereum for scalability. Because just moving from proof of work to proof of stake, that does not make Ethereum more scalable. It's more energy efficient and things like that. Yep. All right. So let's do like a quick BlackRock update.
Our favorite topic,
I know.
Blackrock, one of many.
Right. So it's just like, again, it's like the one thing I've learned over the years is like, you never listen to what these companies say. All we do is follow the money, right? So we know that BlackRock manages $10 trillion a year in assets. Their GDP, their income is more than most countries in the world. Like definitely in the top 10, if not in the top 5. Like that's how powerful BlackRock is. So what they're doing with their spot, like BTC Trust, it's actually tracking the price of Bitcoin directly. So this isn't like a grayscale product. It's a little bit different. And because it's tracking the real-time price of Bitcoin within this trust, very easily convertible for a spot ETF, which is something that hasn't been passed yet. But if anyone can get it passed, it's going to be BlackRock.
BlackRock, sure.
Right? Yep. So I thought it was going to be Fidelity. Like there's there's so many different companies that are trying to get it. But, when I look back at 2020, when we had, like a shutdown of the world, like BlackRock kind of bailed out the Federal Reserve Bank. So let's just not forget how powerful these folks are. And like Larry Fink, he's a big time into this ESG standard, like the environmental social governance. He gave a shout out for Energy Web Token.
I had not heard of that before. So I'm really eager to dive into that later today.
Yeah. So we're going to cover this probably on the podcast. I'm going to start covering some new tokens because I see the tokenization of our energy grid. I see the tokenization of real estate. Like there's so many different things going on. And I kind of just always urge people like, Kelly and I aren't financial advisors. Like we just we just do research and be like, this project has potential. And if you're in real estate, if you're a realtor or mortgage broker, you might be inclined to learn about some of these tokens like Proppy and Securitize that are going to tokenize the real estate industry. And if you're a musician, you might like Audius, and an artist like Masterworks. Like there's something for everybody.
There is. Absolutely.
But, it's super fun. But yeah, they totally gave them a shout out saying that like Energy Web's potential to really lessen the environmental impact, specifically with Bitcoin mining. So any like fear, uncertainty, and doubt about Bitcoin being bad for the environment, anything, that's a lie at this point. It's just all FUD. It's all FUD because Bitcoin, most of the mining now done on Bitcoin is environmentally friendly. And now kind of like, moving towards like a more like an energy web token, like really kind of like, if we think of an energy grid and that builds the systems on how we use energy on a daily basis. I mean, it could be a thing where, we could share energy. Who knows how this is going to transpire? But we might be able to peer-to-peer share our energy tokens with each other.
As you continue to peel back the layers of this changing world, it would be interesting if there's anything out there about the tokenization. I don't know if this is even possible. I guess anything is of water. What's going to happen in regards to water rights and water bill? Because right now we're not getting billed for the gallons of water that we consume or use. We get billed for the usage of, whatever. But what will happen to that? Just curious. Just wanted to put that in your little hat, a feather in your hat to think about.
Yeah. I mean, all I know about the energy grid and the water supply is that, everyone has smart meters on their house, like which can be remotely turned on and remotely turned off.
Right.
So if they monitor the amount of energy that we're using, and I think a really good use case for energy is going to be Germany, because they are going to have a major humanitarian crisis is coming this winter People are not going to have energy to heat their homes, and it's
Denmark, the Netherlands, but especially, they're at a critical level.
Right. So, again, with the water issues that are going on in California, Nevada,
Europe, even everywhere. It's global.
Yeah. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that for sure. Yeah. All right, cool. All right, so let's have some fun. I kind of broke down some of the coins to be like, what are the top 5 projects I'm looking at right now in terms of long-term, short-term, where they're at with some of their progress with upgrading their systems. It's we know Ethereum is still on target for mid-September launch for the merge from proof of work to proof of stake, which is super good news. And during, there's a thing, it's you buy the rumor, you sell the news. So if people are short-term traders, you can kind of see the price of Ethereum. It broke again over $1,700 this morning. So we'll see what happens. And it doesn't mean you have to, I'm not saying don't buy Ethereum, don't sell it. I'm not saying anything at all, but it's fun to watch it because, it helps us learn. And if we look at when the market dipped and it went to 1,000, and as we get closer to the merge, the price is almost doubling. So that's one project I'm kind of really excited about. The second project I'm super excited about is Cardano. So I did some research yesterday on the Vasil Hardfork, which is, I know, super techie term, but basically the Vasil Hardfork is going to help Cardano scale. Okay, so that's going to be a big success for Cardano. And they just finished, or almost, I think they're finished testing the bugs. There was a lot of problems. They found a lot of bugs, but all of that has been resolved. So I'm pretty much just looking for a date, for that live mainnet. And the scalability of Cardano, in my opinion, is going to bring Cardano into double, definitely by the next bull run. Nothing's certain. I'm just a tech recruiter.
Right. Again. Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking about.
And full disclosure, a lot of these tokens and coins we actually have positions in. But one of the things that's really important, I think, about Cardano is I think that Charles is a transparent individual. Whenever there's challenges or issues that they've faced, he has always come right to the forefront and said, this is where we're at. This is what we're building. He claims it, he takes it on. And so I can really appreciate that, especially in the landscape that we are today with all these other corrupt companies and, things that are really being held to task. Right. So.
Yeah, really. I mean, and I think some of this is actually really good to see people like Charles Hodgkinson be super transparent. Even Brad Garlinghouse from Ripple, for a private company, they're super, way more transparent than any other bank that I know of. I kind of look at Ripple as a bank. I think Ripple's going to be a bank. I'm just putting that out there because it looks that way. And I've said it from the beginning and nothing has steered me away from that. Right. But but when I look at Gary Gensler from the SEC or a former commissioner like Bill Hinman, Bill Hinman worked at the SEC while the Ethereum ICO took place. Was he a participant in that? Because that's illegal. And I know one of the XRP holders they just got a FOIA request. It's a Freedom Information Act. So we can actually send the Federal Reserve a letter and demand that you send us the information. And it looks really damaging for Bill Hinman. So let's use that for a segue of the next coin that's high on my list is XRP, because at this point, everything that I see that's going on with this lawsuit, they will have a settlement. I just don't see any other way. And once Ripple gets a settlement and XRP is declared a currency, what will that price be? right? You know what I mean? And like, again, it's like, I've been in crypto since 2017. And it's like, a lot of people just don't know, like XRP used to battle with Ethereum for the number 2 and 3 spot. When XRP moves in price, it moves fast, right? Just like it settles really fast at fractions of pennies on the dollar, it goes up in price super quickly.
Right. It's a great chart to follow if you're a trader.
Yeah. So, so that's definitely like on my radar for, the rest of this year into next year. I'm hoping like sometime, maybe even by the end of the year, like we don't know for sure, but the more ridiculous the SEC gets, I just think that settlement is coming. And once settlement comes, Ripple XRP will be the most regulated, the most scrutinized digital asset in the world, just like Amazon, just like Microsoft, just like Apple, just like Tesla. They all got sued. And again, now look at where they are. So I think Ripple is that big. And, and there's so many use cases for XRP. So we'll just see how this ecosystem gets built out.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Super bullish, though. Super bullish. Yep. And then, another thing I wanted to mention too, because I know I've been touching base a little bit about Chainlink every day, which is like the Oracle for real-time data. So there's no date release yet, but Chainlink is going to go also to another upgrade where we're going to be able to stake our Chainlink. Okay, so it's Chainlink 2.0. And once we can stake our Chainlink, we will actually earn passive income. So there's no date, but, stay tuned. We'll keep everybody posted, because when companies and when these cryptos go through these mergers or like, these huge upgrades to their system, the price usually follows. Not all the time in a bear market.
Right.
But, like if this was a bull market, everyone would be doing cartwheels and we're never going down again, right?
Right. But I mean, that's a great, just to say that for a point of reference. I mean, there's so much fear in the markets, understandably so, but it is fear that will keep the retail investor out of the market. And we encourage you to lean into the possibility of entering the market right now. It doesn't have to be a particular one particular coin. You can definitely spread the love if you have some, funds to invest in. But I do think that we also could be looking at another leg down to potentially over the next, few months. But this is still, even if you were to enter the markets within a year, you're still early. You're still very much early to the whole segment.
Yeah. And like, and kind of to keep everything in perspective, right? So, if Bitcoin's at 24,000 today and we think it might go down to 12,000, whether you buy it at 12,000 or 24,000, it's a lot lower than 69,000. Just don't buy it at 69,000. Buy it now, even if it's $100 a month, dollar cost average when you get your paychecks, because over time it does build up.
Right.
And again, like so many people's lives like have been changed by investing in these technologies, which is really cool.
And then just sit back and be patient.
That's it. That's it. And and you brought up such a good point too, because I know like so many people are afraid to come back into the market because of what happened with Celsius and what happened with Voyager, and the SEC is threatening Coinbase and FTX and all the cease and desist. And there's so many things going on. But, this is the future of finance. Like this is the future of money. And like to kind of like just look through that, like Voyager, Celsius, these are centralized exchanges. One point of failure. Bitcoin has never been hacked. Ethereum has never been hacked. Now, when you do side chains and things get a little bit more centralized as you build out parts of the ecosystem, that's where we have hacks or problems. But like, again, the blockchain itself has never been hacked. Whether you take Monero, XRP, all of them, none of them have ever been hacked because there's hundreds and thousands of nodes.
Yep. Good points.
Yep. All right. So let's talk about VeChain. This was like a fun thing on I was perusing LinkedIn yesterday and was like, let me do an update on VeChain, because I know they just, they made that announcement that they had partnered with AWS. I think we covered that like a couple of weeks ago. And then it's like, oh, what's this Orion software solution? So I did a deeper dive. And again, like, I think like, this is my personal opinion based, I'm not a financial advisor, but when I look at the problems that are going on right now, and I look at certain cryptocurrencies that can provide solutions specifically to our global supply chain is not doing well. And I believe it will continue to not do well until we adopt the blockchain. And VeChain is going to be one of the front runners for logistics, goods and services, trackability, traceability. They partnered with Orion software as a service. Okay. Who is Orion partnered with? Amazon, Kohl's, Target, Cabela, so many others.
Yeah, big retailers. And
VeChain is so carbon neutral, and it's just like have awards for being like green technology. And, I've been following Sunny Liu, who's the CEO of the company, and just like, I think that they have a really, really bright future. And like a lot of goods that we buy are counterfeit. Like when Kelly and I, when we recommend to go buy a Ledger or Safepal, you can't buy that stuff on Amazon because we don't know if it's been tampered with. You have to go to the manufacturer's website to buy your hardware wallet, right?
Absolutely.
So VeChain will make sure that that's authenticated and that is a real product that came, and you can track it. And I think that VeChain has a potential to be like a household name. I know it's hard to see this now, but I kind of can see it, in the future. It's going to take a couple years for the supply chain to get better, but it's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. I think it's a really important point to lean into that. And on the safety front, just quickly there, when you're looking into cryptocurrencies and things of that nature, always go through something like CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap to go to a particular company's URL, because it's very simple for somebody to copy a URL to make it look and divert it to another place. So I don't use browsers to search company details. I always go through CoinGecko when I'm doing my own research for coin, just as a little safety tip.
Yeah, no, that's super smart. That's super smart. And again, like I know I had put some stuff here. I pulled it right off of Orion's website. So it's like, if you think about them being a logistics, software development company, by 2027, the supply chain management is projected to be a $42 billion a year industry. Yeah. And if we think that everything kind of runs on the internet right now, and moving to an internet of value where we're sharing value through computer networks, through our systems, that's all the blockchain. Yeah. So, again, like current market cap, 1 trillion. When is it going to be 5 trillion? When is it going to be 10 trillion? We don't know for sure who the winners are. Good companies go, they go belly up. They run out of money, like COVID, like when the government told no one could go to work, like it put good companies out. And a lot of crypto companies were struggling for a little while, but the strong survive, and the ones that do, like we'll flourish. It'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Exciting times.
Yeah. And I think, so exciting to think about like what the world's going to be like in 2027, like the digitization and tokenization of like everything,
I know it's really unfathomable, but if you look at the movies, they've been showing it to us for a long time. And I think it's just a matter of, it's really fascinating. I'm trying to immerse myself back in the world in many fronts, because I think many of us have been, pretty reclusive in our own ways or what have you. And it really is fascinating to see how people function out in the world outside of my own little world. It's really, I'm kind of going through this metamorphosis or a deeper understanding of the world again, which is, it's kind of a fun little thing to look at and lean into, coming from the knowledge base that I have of my own way of navigating the world and then seeing the world through a different lens. So it's pretty interesting to see the technology changing, et cetera.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And to also understand, like, we're super early. Like, if you're, you're going to work now. So it's just like, hey, do you know what the blockchain is? Have you heard of Solana? Like, most people have heard of Bitcoin, but I ran the numbers and only 8% of Americans own cryptocurrency. 8%. Yeah. 8%. We have the DTCC, we have Blackrock, we have Fidelity, we have KPMG. We have the Federal Reserve Bank. We have regulation coming. Like, not financial advice, but like, make an investment in yourself and educate yourself, right? Because we are moving into like this data revolution, and it's not the future anymore. Like, this is now. When I read articles by Ripple and like how they project by 2023, 2024, most people are going to have like digital wallets. It kind of blows my mind because people don't even know what a digital wallet is, right? But it's going to happen so quickly. So it's like, we just need to be patient, dollar cost average now, and get ourselves set up. Because when I look at things like staking of Chainlink, staking of Cardano, Ethereum, Polkadot, it's like, I was like poking around to see like all the different hardware wallets and what does each hardware wallet, there's pros and cons, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Of like what we can stake and how we can earn money. And it's just like, well, I can stake my Polkadot on the blockchain and I can secure it with my Ledger wallet, and I'm earning between 10 to 14%. Well, let's get our Polkadot staked. And even if we're going sideways for a year, we're making passive income. And what happens if Polkadot goes to $100, $200? We don't know what's going to happen in the future, but here we are. We've been compounding, getting paid out on a daily basis by staking our Polkadot to help stabilize the blockchain.
Right.
And once that price goes up in value, now we have like a significant passive income, and it's the same thing with like Cosmos and Tezos, and, you can use your treasure.
Cardano and right.
Yeah. So there's so many different ways to just start earning passive income without jeopardizing your coins on Coinbase or FTX or Kraken, like one of these centralized exchanges, until things kind of settle out, right? Like,
right. And so as a recap, right, we're a proponent of still keeping our coins as much as possible on a cold wallet, on a storage device such as a Safepal, like you said, Ledger, etc. And there's ways, to stake.
Yeah, so many different ways to stake our coins and to keep them like super protected. So, just super important. And yeah, and trying to think what else. But yeah, so Tezos, Tron, Cosmos, and Polkadot, you can easily stake on Ledger. And you can't stake directly on like the Trezor desktop app, but you can do it through Exodus, which is super fun too. So if you download Exodus on your desktop, you need that Trezor to have access to your Exodus account. And I think you could stake Algorand, Solana, Cosmos, Cardano, Ontology, which I've never heard of, Tezos, and VeChain. So
that's the only wallet I don't have yet. I've got everything else.
I had a lot of problems with Exodus, but it was a while ago when I was trying to get it situated, and then I just didn't do it. And I know on Safepal too, like if you have VeChain on Safepal, like you're earning VTHO, which is the gas for VeChain, which is awesome.
Right, which still floors me because it's still not happening on my Safepal. I think it's just one of our members was able to do that. But
no, I do it too. I have VeChain.
Not happening on mine.
Yeah, I'm earning VTHO like every minute.
need to dive back in to see what's going on there. But yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, so interesting. Yeah. So,
well, I appreciate everybody hanging out with us and, keeping up with our podcasts. We're really are super excited to continue to bring you quality news. It's kind of like just keeping you up to date. And we're super, excuse me, I've got a frog this morning all of a sudden. Super excited about those that are really working with us in sponsorship as well. Because as we mentioned earlier, Mary Berger with Computer Diva came on board with us, and so did
Jeannie.
Our Markley mobile online signing service, which is another sponsor of ours. And as we continue to go into this digitized world and, obviously everything's online, they offer an amazing service to allow us to do remote signing. And we all are needing those services in very, in a broad span of the brush as far as needing, digital notary services. So it's great. So you don't have to go to your bank to do it. You can just do it all online.
Yeah, I had no idea that you can actually get a notary like online. I cannot tell you how hard it was for Roa and I to find a notary like during COVID. And the fact that now we can just like find a local, like we don't even have to find a local notary. Like you can use Markley services living in Oregon, which is so cool. And it's just like so many different businesses and any kind of like personal needs is all taken care of online now. And again, so much simpler and so much easier. And we'll have the link for Markley services and Computer Diva down below.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Right.
But check them out, and you can reach out and make a specific appointment for whatever it is that you need, and have others join you in the signing process, etc. So, yep. Super. Thank you both to those sponsors.
Yep. Thanks for keeping us going. And we have a Q&A class coming up this weekend.
That is, it is. I'm going to put that note up here real quick. It is this Saturday at 8 a.m. August 27th. You can find the notes at our website, twowomenencrypto.com/classes events, and you'll find all of our offerings there. And as we noted earlier, we will be highlighting a digital safety class here soon, and we have other work and process that we'll announce shortly as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that Q&A is 8 a.m. Pacific time, 11 a.m. Eastern. So looking forward to it. And hope to see you all soon. And then until next week, we're just going to keep
hodling on.
Hodl on.
See you later.
Bye.
Your hosts for Two Women in Crypto are Andrea Caldero and Kelly Lair. You'll find more information and details regarding the Two Women in Crypto membership, educational and informative class and event offerings, and more via their website, twowomenencrypto.com. Both Andrea and Kelly are available for speaking events and offer private consultations focused on helping individuals navigate the future. Until next time, hodl on.